kids from a very early age. We must have we have to start with them from age 5 to 16, to 18, to 20. So you have to have a sequence, a system where you build around from the very younger ones, and you have a uniform structure. Number one, we have to identify the kind of football we want to play in Nigeria, our type of flow, our ethos, what we want to play. And then we can now imbibe that, put it in our kids from a very early age. So from age 5, you go under 5 to under 8, under 8 to under 12, under 12 to under 16, under 16 to under 18. You have those structures in place, and it's spread around the nation. Now, where it's not the under 5 or under 18 where you put a 20-year-old or 25-year-old. We have to have a system where those kids are registered and we can monitor them from a very early age. You understand me? Where we don't cheat, where we bring in the right age and we train them to perform at different age group levels. And going into from there and then going into the national sides, so we can start playing the under 10, under 15, or under 16, under 18. You understand me? So those structures have to be in place, which we don't have today. There must be uniformity. You understand? So if we can do that in the future, we will progress. But there must be a system in place. We must have coaches that have been trained to work with the kids from that very early age. And those coaches are trained within the system, within the Nigerian Football Federation, and then they're sent out to work with those children all over the nation. The football academies we have today are only out to sell players. You understand me? So what I'm saying here is where we have, I'm not saying academies shouldn't sell players or not. Those players in the academies, if we have uniformity, should be playing in the league. And then we must have a cap where we say, look, until you're a certain age, you can't leave the country. You must play in that league because we've invested in you. We've invested in those kids. So maybe they will have to play till they're 20 or 18 or 19, where they can now go out, you understand, to play abroad. But there must be a structure in place, and there must be laws guiding it. That's the only way we can excel. It also goes to it also goes back to what I've been saying. The girls, the female team in Nigeria today, I believe the girls, I call them girls or ladies, are the ones that will ever win the World Cup first. They got the capacity, they got the women football, they can win the World Cup. They've got what it takes. But then it now goes back to our attitude and the corruption in the system. You understand me? If you allow the other girls from a very early age develop, and you have the same system I'm talking about, that cap of under 5, under 8, under 10, and you structure and you do it continuously in uniformity, we will be world beaters. We will win the World Cup at any given time because the women have got the grit. They pick up very faster than our men. They tap the balls. They are more technically better, within that range. So, but it's for us to develop those things and to take away corruption. First, when we talk about indigenous coaches, what coaches do we have? You see, if you don't have a competitive league, a highly professional league, how do you want to get good coaches? You can't get good coaches. The coaches, it's not that we don't have the capacity to build good coaches. We have a lot of talents in this country that can be world beaters, that could be top coaches. I talk to young stars. Young stars will talk to you about the technicality of the game. They're very bright. Even my son, when he talks to me about football, I think he knows the game better than I do today. The technicalities of the game, you understand me? The formations, how players play back and forth. It's because you've given him the exposure. And we need to give our young stars that exposure. We need to develop them. That's what we're not doing. We have to invest in them. But for now, we have not done that. And what we're doing today is those bunch of coaches we have are not good enough to run the national team at that level of competition. I have one or two of them in America that are sound, for, you know, they're there. But how many of them can you bring into the system? You understand me? Our local coaches, we need...
National Institute of Sports.
Now, please, let's forget about the National Institute of Sports. That, I use a word, it's been alamalized. That's a very poor system. You know, it has nothing, we have nothing there. I'm serious. I'm not running anything. Our National Sports Institute is a disgrace. So we shouldn't be talking about that. Yeah. If you want to talk about National Sports Institute, then you go to Australia and other countries and you see what it is. You see the standards. We don't have those things. Ours is archaic.
Is it beyond redemption?
There's nothing beyond redemption. It can be, you know, we can work on it. We can develop it. We just have a time frame, work around it. See, there's nothing we cannot do in this country. We got everything possible to do it. It's the wherewithal. Do we have that mindset to do it? Are we ready for it? Those are the things we have to look at. Or do we want to continue with our mediocrity? But really, sincerely speaking, there's nothing impossible. We can do anything here. We've got great youngsters. We have to remove all this old, archaic way of thinking and then bring in a more modern, professional approach to things. So that's it. The media is one of the most corrupt anyway, I'm sorry to say. The sports media and all that, the sports writers. I worked in the system, I know how corrupt they are. Majority of them are corrupt. I'm saying it. They can challenge me, but it's the truth. Until we get rid of all those things, where our boys go and collect envelopes to write or favor people, we're not going to get anywhere. I'm not saying the press, but the sports writers, I disgrace. See, the Supporters Club is not going to do anything or develop football. This is just to travel, get things. Oh, it's fine. It's good to have fans. But what has that got to do with football development? Nothing. Supporters Club is not going to do anything. They're playing their own politics. You understand me? They want to travel. That's it. Travel around the world, do things. But is that part of football development? That is not football development. So let's leave that aside. We're talking about the professional, the technicalities, what it takes to develop national sides or a proper league. Then the Supporters Club has nothing to do with it. Do you see, how many people do you see at stadiums in Nigeria instead of watching football? Scanty, there's nothing. It's not like in the days where in the 70s or even in the 60s, if you are going to play a game at 4:45 in the afternoon, the stadium is full to capacity. At 11 in the morning. You don't have that anymore. So what are we talking about, Supporters Club?
Is there a way we can bring that back, that passion?
Yeah, if you build a league that, you know, has the quality, the professionalism, and all the standards are put in place, then you can bring them back. Then you can bring the crowd back. I think it's very unfair to call it lesser sports. All sports are tops. Yeah, it's very wrong to call them. They're top sports. Basketball is tops. Athletics is tops. It's very wrong. I think it's very unfair to call them lesser sports. See, bottom line is the politics, the greed. You understand me? We have top talented basketball players all over the world. We could put them together. It's all about management. It's all about commitment. But you don't have those things there. It's about myself. It's all about self-aggrandization. What do I get from this? It's not about what do we do to build these teams or these athletes to be world beaters. Do you understand me? So you're not going to get anything out of it. You will never. It's the bottom line. You'll never ever get anything. So you'll always have factions, you'll always have people fighting. Why do you fight for what? If you can collectively come together to build a system, a structure for basketball, for example. because the girls are tops. They could perform. They could do far better than where they are today. I always tell you, the female teams in Nigeria will always excel in athletics, in basketball and all that. Our male are a bit arrogant and clunky in doing things, but the ladies are always more committed. They've got what it takes, but they need good management. It's not that the men can't do it too, the men can do it, but it all also evolves with good management. Taking away politics, taking away greed, not a situation where a coach is collecting money from a player to put a player in the team, or a member of the football association fighting for their children or family to play in the national team, or a member of government is asking someone to put their kids in the team. No, that's not it. Where is the nationalism? Where's that patriotism? Patriotism. I don't care where you come from. If you're good, you're good. If you're better than my own people, then my own people have to sit down and you let them, the others that can perform. Where would you have quota system in football? Where's that done? Do you understand me? So we have a lot of issues we need to resolve. Well, what do you expect? The athletes themselves are far more successful and far more exposed than the administrators. So the administrators obviously are always envious of those ones, and they make life difficult for them. Do you understand me? Where you have people that are not competent enough running a system, people that are not exposed, that haven't got the professional ethics to run the thing, that's what you get. Then the greed aspect, which is a standard norm for us in this country. Greed. Where people believe athletics is only, you being a member of the Athletics Federation is all about traveling. You understand me? He wants to travel, she wants to travel. She wants to be in the, what do you call them, in the group of people that are going away. See, you can never get no results. They're all fighting to get something. And then they don't care about the athletes. They want to be in a delegation that is going to travel. Do you understand me? So that's basically it. They're not interested in the development. They haven't got the zeal. You understand me, sir? So once you don't have those things, you can never get anything right. Yeah, the private sector is one. The cricket has more because, government involvement is not as, I think you have more of the private people, interested private people that have gone to schools, top schools, that played cricket in those days. Those are the ones that are promoting cricket. So you're going to get results, you understand me? Because they're far more exposed, they understand what it takes. So the commitment is there. They're using their own funds to push, to develop the game. You understand sports. So that's why cricket is picking up. Oh, you mean the National Sports Festival? I think for now we don't really need that. We need to do more with the private sector. I think the new chairman of the National Sports Commission, he seems he's an exposed person. I think he's got to sit right and see how he can profile solutions to these things and change the course of. He's got what it takes to do it. He just has to come out of that shell, come out of that darkness. I'll call it darkness, and come into real light. I think he has it. But National Sports Festival, I don't think we're ready. We really need that now. We need to do more with youth development programs. You see, a National Sports Festival in those days was more interesting because you had more schools, inter-school sports. And that is where the best athletes came from. We don't have that anymore. So first we need to build the school sports schools, athletics and all that, build it to a standard and then go into national sports festivals. For now, we don't have that, and I think the National Sports Commission has to look into that, how they can work with the Ministry of Education and see how they can build that again. School sports. That's where you get the best. In those days, the best athletes. We knew those that will run, that will actually participate and run for Nigeria. We knew the ones that will do high jump, long jump, triple jump. We knew them, both female and females, from secondary school. You don't have that anymore. So where do they come from? Nowhere. So you have, like in those days where some schools will go and get mercenaries, pay for them to come and run. That's what you get today. So it's corrupt. Now, the Sports Commission has to work on that. It has to change it. And I know they can do it. They just need to sit back and look at how they will change the course of things. If you want to unite Nigeria with good sports, then you got to give them good results, good teams that can perform. You understand me? In the process of winning competitions, or they have a team, or they have teams that have got the quality that can move the nation, then you unite. Everybody wants to watch good football. Everybody wants to see a great athlete running. You want to see a good high jumper performing at the best. When you see that, it draws everybody together. If you have a good national team that plays excellent football, look, in Nigeria, when you look at our team, the 94 team, we were the 5th in world ranking. You were talking about ranking, which I don't really. When we really had a good ranking, we were number 5 in the world. The 94 team was number 5. The World Cup 94, we were rated as the 5th best team in the world. And you look at the style of football we played. We developed our own style of football, took it to the world, and we were respected. We don't do that anymore. We have to have an identity. You understand me? Our footballers are not the best. We're good, we're very athletic, we're strong, we're physical. You understand me? We've got to build that kind of football. We are not as technical when it comes to techniques and all that, like the Europeans. But when it comes to the physicality, you understand me? We're better. When it comes to the physicality, the mental strength, we have it. So you have to build around that. You're putting a bit of technical things there, but the main issues is we got to have the muscles, the strength to run any team down. That's the kind of football we should play. We're playing lazy football now. We have to play what we played then, where we run any team down. We can play 2-3 hours non-stop. We never get tired. We don't have that anymore. We can even string passes. We can't play 2 against 4, 3 against. We don't do it anymore. We're lazy.
It's got to do with the kind of coach.
It's not only the coach. Yeah, the coach and then the association, the federation. They don't have a vision. You have to know what you want to present to the world. It's like any other top team in the world. In Real Madrid, Barcelona, they have their own type ethos, their own style of football. And this is what they sell to the world. We don't even know what we're doing. We have to have what it takes to sell to the world. This is what we want to do. This is how we can perform. This is the style we're going to play. And that style we believe in. And then we build the youngsters from very early to play that same type of football. We have the manual that we can work with. Uniformity. Simple. That's it. No, it's individual and the corporate organizations. They're not doing enough. Everything can't just be government. Today, you don't even have Nigerians pumping money into sports like they used to do that. I'm sorry, I don't want to digress, and I don't want to say what my father did. I'm not promoting my family, but I knew how he invested millions of dollars building the national teams. Yeah, his personal funds. You don't get those things anymore. Do you understand me? You have to see the 94 team was done outside the outside government. It was done by individuals. That was why we were successful. But you don't have those things anymore. You just have a bunch of greedy leaders and greedy individuals or corporate bodies. It's all about them and their family. They're not giving it. So how do you want the kids to perform? How? All the kids are out there wasting away. We got great talents in this country, but they're wasting away because we're not helping out. We're not encouraging them. We're not building structures, institutions where you can build those, you can develop those kids. Yeah. So they're on the street doing yahoo, doing all sorts of stupid things. Yeah. Because there's no competition. There's nothing to draw their attention. You understand me? Until we do those things, we can never ever change. We can't get it right. Yeah, well, for me, I don't see any difference for me, whatever you give to the female teams, you also give to the senior, to men. Because our team, our female team, at the world ranking today, we're tops, we're recognized. So you have to also allow, but for men, anywhere in the world, men always have an advantage. But doesn't mean the disparity should be so much. You give the ladies, I remember, when I was the FA chairman, I remember once the female team was in camp, and we went there in Ota. When we found out what they were earning, it was disgraceful. They couldn't buy their, I'm sorry to say that, what you ladies use, your pads, you couldn't even buy it. I had to tell them, these are women. Why are you treating them like rubbish? They have to be looked after. Because they're going to need more of those systems, because you have more wastage than men. Don't let me go into what I'm saying, but I understand. So the women have to be well taken care of. Yeah, simple. So you got to give them what it takes. To strike a balance. You have to strike a balance. Solutions I'm going to give you, I can't give you a straight off head, right? But realism says first, we have to get rid of greed. We have to go away from all this religiosity in the system, because religion has destroyed the fabrics of a nation. See, being a Christian or a Muslim or whatever doesn't mean you've got to cheat people or lie to people or not show love. You understand me? Or the religious, when I come to religion, the churches, the institutions we have today are not developing education. There must be uniformity in education. They're not developing education. Education is key. But you know what we have today? Half-baked educated youths. Half-baked. And that's the worst you can ever have. And that is key in anything we do. First, to have good leaders, well structured. In Germany, in Europe, and now, the kids that go to the best universities, some kids are developed, they're built up to be top civil servants. So they go to Oxford, they go to Cambridge, they become top politicians. Then you have the ones that will become big and top engineers, and now they go to certain universities. All those things are structured. We had it before in the past. It's gone. We got to find the way. It's not about just giving licenses to universities. But for me, the foundation, education, is very key. When you have half-baked youths and you have half-baked leaders that haven't got that structure in place, that proper education, they can never excel. What are you going to tell them? They will never get it right. So that's very key. Now, when you talk about policies, who are the ones that are going to put the policy papers together if they have baked? Because you need policy papers, you need to have a better understanding of your environment, of the society. You have to have a better understanding of how the society will grow. So if you don't have that in mind, you can never develop. So you need those things to make the nation change. I'm just giving it in a nutshell. Yeah, you need more commercial, you need more private sector funding, you need more sponsorship, and then, like I said, you need more training. You need to train your coaches. Our referees are the most Nigerian referees. Do you see any referee participating in any African Nations Cup? No. Because, and you're telling me it's the best league. That's the most corrupt league in the world. Because our coaches are not even, our referees are not even allowed. They never invite them for any Nations Cup. So what are we talking about? What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Every match in the MPFL, most times, most of the games, all home teams win. You don't see away teams coming to win. So are you telling me that's a balanced league? It's not a balanced league. It's a corrupt league. So that has to change first. When that changes, you understand me? And then other things will follow. You see, you have the National Olympic Committee that is run, by the private sector and government. Now you need to get the right people in the private sector to come in there to work with some people in government, people that have got the wherewithal, that got the financial muscle and the commitment to do those things. Not just people that are hustlers that just want to get something out of it. It's about people that want to give. That's what Olympics is all about. People that give, that are ready to give, to develop Olympians to be world beaters. People that truly want that mood, that soul of Olympics to excel. That's what we need. And that is what we have to work on. And that comes from leadership, that comes from the system, where you choose the right people that have got what it takes to build the Olympic team.
The world of business is one filled with men and women willing to dine with risk. And when we seek African business shapers, we see individuals who have denied self to build conglomerates. From controlling over 90% of diesel trade in Nigeria, to almost throwing in the towel, then getting on the Forbes list, we present Olufemi Peter Otedola. The Nigerian businessman and philanthropist was born in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo State, on the 4th of November, 1962, into the family of late Sir Michael Otedola, the governor of Lagos State from 1992 to 1993. The University of Lagos Staff School, Akuka, welcomed Olufemi for his primary education and secondary education at Olivet Baptist High School, Oyo. Olufemi proceeded to Obafemi Awolowo University, Ife, for his first degree, graduated and joined the family printing press business, working hard and gaining experience. Femi Otedola ventured out starting Centreforce Limited. The company focused on finance, investment and trading. The oil and gas sector was Femi Otedola's next port of call. From quite a very humble beginning in the oil and gas sector, utilizing connections and networks of family and friends, he cultivated partnerships in diesel supply chain. Him being the last man to the final consumer. Challenges breed opportunities, and in Femi's case, it was a late delivery of diesel from his supplier with a broken truck, and he caught the idea. He could do better and provide better services. He ventured into diesel supply business, buying diesel from a retailer and supplying to companies. Femi Otedola encountered several difficulties securing his supply and timely meeting the demands of his growing clients. This definitely was an opportunity he identified in the fuel retail market. Otedola secured the finance, and Xenon Petroleum and Gas Limited was born, a petroleum products marketing and distribution company. Otedola, owner and chairman of Xenon, in 2004 invested 15 billion naira in downstream infrastructure development, and acquired storage depots at Ibadan, Apapa, as well as 4 cargo vessels, amounting to a combined total storage capacity of 147,000 metric tons. Zenon Petroleum and Gas Limited also acquired a fleet of 100 DAF fuel tanker trucks. By 2005, Zenon controlled a major share of the Nigerian diesel market, supplying fuel to most of the major manufacturers in the country, including Dangote Group, Cadbury, Coca-Cola, Nigerian Breweries, MTN, Unilever, Nestle, and Guinness. Zenon Petroleum and Gas was the name on major invoices and Femi Otedola the name on every lips, playing toe-to-toe with major multinationals. Zenon, in a very short period, silenced the competition and almost unilaterally determined the price of diesel in Nigeria. The competitors came to Zenon for supply. Femi Otedola, with the massive success Zenon Petroleum and Gas achieved, bought a 28.7% stake in African Petroleum. Otedola branched into the financial sector and aggressively stocked up the shares of leading financial houses. He became a top shareholder in Zenith Bank, United Bank for Africa, and the largest importer of diesel in Nigeria. He acquired major shares of Africa's Finance Corporation, Mobile Oil Nigeria Limited, Chevron Texaco, and Visafone. Otedola has his hands deep in real estate investments, including an acquisition in February 2007 by Zenon of Sterling House in Victoria Island, Lagos from the federal government. Lagos, London, Dubai, Monaco all have the signatures of FO Property Limited. He was appointed chairman of the Transcorp Hilton Hotel Abuja and tasked with driving its expansion and upgraded to a 7-star facility. Otedola has served as a member of the Nigerian Investment Promotion Council since 2004. Was appointed by President Goodluck Jonathan to Nigeria's National Economic and Management Team. Otedola is chief executive and president of the Seaforth Shipping Company Limited and was at one point Nigeria's largest ship owner after extending control over the distribution of diesel products. One of his ships, a flat-bottom bunker vessel with a storage capacity of 16,000 metric tons, was the first of its kind in Africa. In January 2006, Otedola was appointed a non-executive director of Transnational Corporation of Nigeria PLC, a multi-sectoral conglomerate established in 2004 by then President Olusegun Obasanjo to respond to market opportunities requiring heavy capital investment in Nigeria and across sub-Saharan Africa. He held this post until February 2011. Otedola was appointed chairman and chief executive of African Petroleum in 2007 through the acquisition of controlling stake in the business. Following Otedola's entry into the company, African Petroleum share price rose sharply, increasing the market capitalization from 36 billion to 217 billion naira in 6 months. In March 2009, Otedola became the second Nigerian after Aliko Dangote to appear on the Forbes list of dollar-denominated billionaires with an estimated net worth of $1.2 billion. Otedola announced the move to upgrade African Petroleum's liquefied petroleum gas storage terminals in Lagos, Kano, and Port Harcourt in October 2009. Harsh economic conditions necessitated by the slump in the oil prices and credit squeeze of 2008-09 led African Petroleum to record a loss in 2009. With the world oil price crash came difficult moments for Zenon and Otedola. He was very close to complete bankruptcy.
I said to myself, I was not going to have friends and enemies. I was going to have only competitors. I had 2 options: commit suicide or weather the storm.
African Petroleum, rebranded in December 2010, changed its name to Fort Oil PLC. Otedola paid his near $1 billion debt and invested in the financial industry, making him a top shareholder in Zenith Bank and United Bank for Africa. Otedola restructured the business, focusing on technology and improved corporate governance, and in 2012, Fort Oil returned to profit. Otedola financed 57% of Fort Oil subsidiary, Amperion Limited, which acquired the 414 megawatt Girigu power plant for $232 million in 2013. Fort Oil improved financial position and diversification into power generation resulted in a 1,321% rise in its share price. The first half of 2014 saw the company's pre-tax profit more than double year on year, to 4.1 billion naira. Revenue growth for the whole year was 33%. Force Oil sold 70% of its equity to Swiss commodity trader Mercurial Energy Group in September 2015, giving Force access to global commodity markets. The deal was thought to have given Otedola an estimated $200 million. In 2019, Femi Otedola sold Force Oil PLC and announced plans to change focus from oil to power with his company, Geregu Power PLC. Geregu Power PLC became the first power generation company to list on Nigerian Stock Exchange, demonstrating to stakeholders in the sector how they can fix financing and make profits sustainably. The company's market capitalization is now 726.75 billion naira, and the share price now 290.7 naira from the 2.5 billion shares that were listed at 100 naira each. Otedola, the chairman of Geregu Power, sold down a Geregu stake to bring on institutional investors. In October 2021, Femi Otedola was announced as the single largest shareholder of First Bank PLC. FBN Holdings, the parent company of First Bank Limited, witnessed a commendable 437.9 billion naira surge in market capitalization. FBN Holdings appointed billionaire Femi Otedola as the new chairman of its board of directors, effective January 31st, 2024. Femi Otedola has had its share of controversies. Zenon was among the number of companies named in an alleged fuel subsidy scam report. This was followed by a case against Farouk Lawan for bribery. Otedola has also lost in the ever-evolving competing space of business acquisitions. Transcorp and Huheli Power Plant are two notable projects he closely bidded and lost. Femi Otedola philanthropy is quite remarkable. Otedola made a 300 million naira donation to the completion of the National Ecumenical Center in Abuja. In 2007, he gave 200 million to the State Security Trust Fund in a drive to reduce crime in Lagos. Donated 100 million naira to the Otedola College of Primary Education in Egbe. In 2008, he donated 80 million to the Faculty of Agriculture at the University of Port Harcourt. Femi Otedola pledged and redeemed $25,000 to the Super Eagles in the match against Algeria in 2019 AFCON. He gave all 750 students of Augustine University 1 million naira each. Femi Otedola sits comfortably on the Forbes billionaires list of top 20 richest people in Africa. Femi Otedola is married to Mrs. Nana Otedola and have 4 children: Olawumi Christy Tolani, Florence Ifeoluwa, Elizabeth Temi, and Fewa Otedola. Olufemi Peter Otedola is a standout astute business executive.
A very good morning to you and welcome to News Update. We are reaching you live from our studios at Soup News TV. I am Oyin Priye Krumale. Now let's begin. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to the Presidential Power Initiative with Siemens Energy to boost electricity supply and drive economic growth. Speaking at a meeting with Siemens officials on the Federal Capital Territory, Tinubu said reliable power is vital for industrial, educational, and healthcare development, assuring full government support for the project's completion and expansion of major transformers substations nationwide. The Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, said the project has already added 984 megawatts to the national grid through new substations and transformers, with more to come under new phases. Siemens is also building a training center for development in order to develop local talent and create jobs as Nigeria targets an additional 4,000 megawatts of power. The Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission has approved 43 new field development plans 2025 expected to unlock 1.7 billion barrels of crude oil and 7.7 trillion cubic feet of gas. The Commission's chief executive, Gbenga Kumolafe, disclosed this during the Nigerian Association of Petroleum Explorationists conference in Lagos, noting that the projects represent over $20 billion in new investments and renewed investor confidence in the nation's oil and gas sector. Major final investment decisions include $5 billion for Bonga North, $500 million for the Ubeta gas project, and $2 billion for Shell's High gas project. Kumolafe said indigenous participation in the industry is deepening, with local deals exceeding $5 billion and rig activity rising from 8 in 2021 to over 40 in 2025. He added that the ongoing reforms, including data-driven exploration, the Project 1 Million Barrels Initiative, and frontier basin development are strengthening Nigeria's energy security. The Commission, he noted, remains committed to sustainability through gas flare commercialization, the decade of gas, and upstream decarbonization efforts of the Nigerian government. Now, Nigeria's maritime exports rose by 12% in the first half of 2025, increasing from 38.27 trillion naira in the same period of 2024 to 42.87 trillion naira, driven by foreign exchange reforms, naira depreciation, and high export volumes, particularly from the Dangote Petroleum Refinery. Data from the National Bureau of Statistics show maritime trade continues to dominate other transport modes, including air, road, and pipelines. The first and second quarters of 2025 recorded 20.36 trillion naira and 22.51 trillion naira in exports, compared to 19.02 trillion naira and 19.25 trillion naira in the same quarter of 2024, reflecting ongoing policy effort to incentivize exports and attract foreign exchange inflows. Experts attribute the growth to the unification of exchange rate, liberalization of the forex market, and contribution from Dangote Refinery, especially in fertilizer and refined petroleum exports. Dr. Muda Yusuf of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprise said the reforms removed previous exchange rate losses for exporters, making Nigerian goods cheaper and more attractive internationally. Supply chain expert Marcel Mba added that export-led growth brings more foreign exchange into the country and could strengthen the naira if sustained. Both called for consistent implementation of the reforms to maintain momentum and support the private sector productivity. Now, Ogun State Internal Revenue Service has directed its directors and zonal controllers, tax officers, managers, and unit heads to strictly comply with data integrity and cybersecurity policies as part of the state's new tax reforms. Executive Chairman Gbenga Olaleye gave the directive during OGIRO's 2025 first quarter to the third quarter performance review at Obas Complex, Okemos, Abeokuta, emphasizing the traditional enforcement methods such as roadblocks are now being obsolete. He urged staff to adopt technology-driven approaches to enhance efficiency, prevent data breaches, and avoid financial losses, and strengthen public trust ahead of the new tax laws taking effect in January 2026. Olaleye also highlighted that the Joint Tax Board has been renamed the Joint Revenue Board, or the JRB Act 2025, empowering it to carry out specific tax administration functions across the state. Coordinating Director Taiwo Ogundimu commended staff dedication, urging them to intensify efforts to meet the 2025 revenue target while building a strong foundation for 2026. Senior Manager at Deloitte, Christopher Olayemi, encouraged the use of digital tools for database management, staff training, and public sensitization campaigns. Health expert Stella Olaleye spoke on the importance of lifestyle choices for long-term well-being, while OGIR's Director of Field Operations, Oluwaseun Olajubi, advised that tax information be simplified for informal sector operators who constitute about 85% of taxpayers in the state. The United States Senate on Monday approved a compromise to end the longest government shutdown in the nation's history, following weeks of stalemate that disrupted food benefits for millions, left hundreds of thousands of workers unpaid, and caused major air travel disruptions. The Senate passed the deal 60-40 with nearly all Republicans and 8 Democrats supporting it, while the agreement restores funding for federal agencies and prevent layoffs until January 30th. It leaves a December vote on health insurance subsidies for 24 million Americans unresolved without guaranteeing their continuation. The deal now moves to the Republican-controlled House of Representatives, where Speaker Mike Johnson aims to pass it quickly for President Donald Trump to sign. The funding extension through January 30th temporarily maintains government operations and adds about $1.8 trillion a year to the $38 trillion federal debt. The measure also secures funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program through September 30th, 2026, shielding food benefits from future shutdowns, but does not impose restrictions to stop further unilateral spending cuts by the president. Now, that's it on the news update. Many thanks for watching. Please do well to follow us on all our social media platforms at Sook News TV. Coming up shortly is Sook Business Landscape. Do stay with us.
Oyeyimika Adeboye is one who comes from a lineage of entrepreneurs. Her father, Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola, was a pioneer in Nigerian manufacturing and a role model for her business ambitions. This daughter of a trailblazer began a career with Nigerian Bottling Company and broke barriers at Cadbury, an organization she joined as finance and strategy director and rose to become the first female managing director. Let's explore the world of this amazing African business leader who's built a legacy of excellence, inspiring future generation of female leaders. Oyeyimika Adeboye comes from a lineage of entrepreneurs. Her father, Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola, was a pioneer in Nigerian manufacturing and a role model for her business ambitions. Oyeyimika was born to late Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola, a foremost entrepreneur of his time. He was one of the pioneers of indigenous manufacturing in Nigeria, alongside the likes of Al-Hassan Dantata, the great-grandfather of business icon Aliko Dangote, and Louis Ojukwu, father of Odumegwu Ojukwu, a Biafran leader. Chief Timothy Adeola Odutola became the first president of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria when the body was formed. As daughter to the man who created a multi-million-dollar conglomerate, including 3 factories, a realty franchise, a cattle ranch, a 5,000-acre plantation, a sawmill, an exporting business, as well as established Adeola Odutola College and Adeola Odutola Elementary School in Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State. In addition to having a mother who was a very successful businesswoman, Oyeyimika was highly inspired towards business by her parents, who served as role models. After her basic and secondary education, Adeboye earned a degree in economics and accountancy from the University College, Cardiff, Wales. In 1986, she qualified as a chartered accountant in the UK before returning to Nigeria in the 90s. She became a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales and a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Nigeria. She also got Executive Management Education Certification in Finance and Business Administration from the Institute of Management Development, Lausanne, Switzerland, between 2000 and 2007. Oyeyimika began a career outside the shores of Nigeria as an article clerk with a United Kingdom accounting practice. On returning to Nigeria in the 90s, Oyeyimika took up a job with the Nigerian accounting and tax practice of Arthur Addison & Co. for a couple of years. From there, she moved to Nigerian Bottling Company PLC in 1994, where she held the position of Finance Director and Chief Financial Officer for about 13 years. Returning to Nigeria from the United Kingdom proved a career-defining moment for Oyeyimika. She recalls the experience of a female English friend who worked in the UK as senior manager for many years, but didn't make partner at the same firm where other male managers were admitted into partnership. Among other reasons, the possibility of career limitation consequent on being female and black were good enough reasons to make Oyeyimika return home. In November 2008, Oyeyimika was headhunted to join the board of Cadbury West Africa as Finance and Strategy Director, West Africa, and a director on the board of Cadbury Ghana Limited. She was also a member of the Audit Committee of the company until October 19, 2016. She is a member of the Executive Management Committee and member of the Risk Assessment Committee of Cadbury Nigeria. She spent a total of 10 years and 7 months with Cadbury before being appointed as MD Cadbury Nigeria PLC in April 2019. She also became MD Mondelez Cadbury West Africa 2 months later. Mondelez International is the parent company of Cadbury Nigeria PLC. After consciously building a career in finance, strategy, and business administration, both in Nigeria and the United Kingdom, for over 2 decades, one can almost say that Oyeyimika had spent all the years preparing for the top. Her appointment as the MD CEO of Cadbury Nigeria PLC is a testament to the company's acknowledgement of fine talents. Position as the Managing Director of Cadbury Nigeria PLC. In April 2019, she was announced as the successor to Amira Shamsi. By this development, she became the first female MD of the company in its over 50 years of existence.
It's very important as you're growing your careers. You come here, you learn a lot, and this is a fantastic initiative, by the way. You come here, you learn a lot, and then you go out there and you're wondering what next. What I always say to people is don't limit yourself. You must never limit yourself. I gave you a statement. I said I'm a finance person. Today I'm a general manager. I did not learn general management in school. So whatever you're learning here, I'll call it a drop in your learning pool. Okay? You spend a year here, you learn something. Whatever you learn from here is a drop in your learning pool. Some things you will learn in life. You know where HR people, she's gone, I wish she was here. They always tell us that your development, 80% is in your hands, 20% is in your employer's hands. Your employer can do a lot for you, but all they do for you is really 20%. If you don't get up and do something for yourself, you cannot promote yourself and you will not grow your career.
Oyeyimika Adeboye sits on the board of trustees of the Timothy Adeola Odutola Foundation, named after her father. The foundation targets its philanthropic works towards providing educational, industrial, and technological development for Nigerian youths that may be unable to gain admission into tertiary institutions for their higher education. Adeboye is a member of the board of Odutola Holdings Limited, a family-owned group of companies. Oyeyimika also serves as the chairperson of the advisory board of Genesis House, a home for disadvantaged young women, which was set up by Freedom Foundation. She's a member of the board of the Parity in Income and Education Foundation. Just like Oyeyimika, Adeboye was able to break the corporate glass ceiling as the first female MD of Cadbury Nigeria PLC. Today, women are given the visibility and exposure that was probably not a priority in the past. While there is still a huge gap in the recognition and appointment of highly performing women into CEO roles, the trend is fast improving as organizations are intentionally taking steps to ensure that women get the opportunity to take on very senior roles. As part of her philanthropic work, Adeboye is a member of the board of trustees of YEO Foundation, which provides various initiatives to empower less privileged women. She also contributes her time to partner with Handmaidens WRLS, a Christian NGO which seeks to mentor and empower professional women along an ethical career path. Oyeyimika is a member of the board of trustees of the Timothy Adeola Odutola Foundation, a family-owned philanthropic foundation set up for the purpose of providing educational, industrial, and technological development of Nigerian youths who may be unable to gain access to higher education. For these accomplished women, only God comes before her family in the scale of priority. She enjoys running and spending time with her family over a sumptuous meal. Oyeyimika Adeboye's values are shaped by faith as a Christian. In an interview granted to Punch newspaper, Oyeyimika admits her faith-based values, which borders on integrity, is key to decisions she makes and work ethics.
Just do what you need to do and do it well, to your best, you know. Ms. Aoshika talked about it, to the best of your ability. Do your best. What do I want to say? Yes, talked about it. I said be ready to make sacrifices, but be mindful of your priorities. I want to talk about priorities. As a Christian, you know, and as a mother, as a wife, there's some things in my own life that I know are important. You know, when you're talking about work-life balance, so many things would try to tear you apart. You know, you have to have your priorities. So I took my priorities right. I said, in any decision, in any situation I face, I stick my finger out and I say three things. The first thing is my faith, my God. So if anything at work is going to take that away from me, I'm really willing to give up that work. You know, and I say it boldly that as a Christian, if I have to compromise my faith, then it's not worth it.
Growing up in a home with strict moral upbringing, she recounts a disciplinarian father never failing to apply the rod when it was necessary, as well as her mom. These values have shaped Oyeyimika's character and decision-making. The journey of Oyeyimika exemplifies dedication, talent, and the importance of breaking barriers. She continues to inspire future generations of female leaders. There's never telling where this wonderful, amazing woman is going next as she continues to break corporate ceilings.
Known as the father of African literature, Chinua Achebe was born on the 16th of November 1930 in Ogidi, now Anambra State, eastern Nigeria. He was born to Isaiah Okafor Achebe, a teacher and an evangelist, and Janet Anenichi Iluegbunam, a vegetable farmer. Achebe has reshaped the global understanding of African identity through the power of storytelling. Raised during the twilight of colonial rule, Achebe's education was steeped in both Igbo tradition and the Western values of post-colonial Christianity. As a student at the University of Ibadan, he became fiercely critical of how Africa was portrayed in Western literature. Achebe believed that Western literature often painted Africa as a dark and primitive continent, but he sought to tell the African people's lens. In 1958, Achebe's groundbreaking novel Things Fall Apart shattered colonial narratives through the tragic story of Okonkwo, an Igbo warrior. Achebe illuminated the complexities of African culture and the devastating effects of European colonization. Things Fall Apart became more than just a novel. It became a symbol of African resistance against the oppressive narratives of colonialism. Achebe was not just a writer, he was a passionate advocate for African self-determination, and his political activism made him a critical voice in the post-colonial era. Even after a life marked by personal and political struggles, including a car accident that left him partially paralyzed, Achebe continued to inspire. He taught at Bard College and later Brown University, where his influence reached new generations of writers and thinkers. He was married to Christiana Chinwe Okoli and they had 4 children. Sadly, he died in March 2013 at the age of 82. Chinua Achebe's legacy endures in his novels, his essays, and in the countless voices of African writers who follow in his footsteps. He gave us a voice, a story, and a vision of Africa that is ours to share.
Science and peace stand as twin pillars of global harmony. While science unlocks mystery, advances life through innovation, peace, on the other hand, provide the calm soil where discovery blooms. They transcend nations, bridge divides, and light the path toward unity, progress, and a future where knowledge serves humanity and hope prevails over conflict. International Week of Science and Peace is an annual observance formally recognized by the United Nations General Assembly in 1988, following its successful inception as non-governmental initiative in 1986 during the International Year of Peace. Celebrated between November 9 and 15, the observance underscores the crucial role of science and technology in promoting global peace, security, and sustainable development. It emphasizes the interconnection between scientific advancement and the maintenance of peace, advocating for the ethical and peaceful application of knowledge so that progress in science serves humanity's collective good rather than contributing to conflict. The week aims to raise public awareness about the link between science and peace, fostering dialogue among scientists, policymakers, and the general public. By promoting international cooperation in science as a shared public good, the observance addresses root causes of global conflicts such as poverty, inequality, environmental degradation, and health crisis. It also highlights how ethical research, shared knowledge, and innovation can help achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG 16. Peace, justice, and strong institutions, reinforcing that science, when guided by human values, can be a force for peace, justice, and progress. This annual observance provides a critical focal point for governments, academic institutions, and NGOs to organize activities, including conference, workshops, and educational programs that explore how scientific and technological progress can bridge divide, enhance mutual understanding, and prevent conflict. By affirming the principles of the UNESCO recommendation on science and scientific researchers, the week serves as a timely reminder of the scientific community's ethical and social responsibilities, pushing the transparency, accountability, and respect for human rights in all scientific endeavors. Ultimately, the International Week of Science and Peace demonstrates that the greatest potential of science is realized when it is intentionally harnessed for the construction of a more peaceful and sustainable future for all. Praise Matthias, Sook News TV.
Egypt is a living museum where the past and present come together in a remarkable dance, and it is more than simply a nation. Egypt, which is well known around the world for its pyramids, pharaohs, and the magnificent Nile, is still transforming its rich historical legacy into a vital source of economic expansion and pride in the country. Egypt